Shalom, shalom, Israel. Coming back at you with another lesson. Lord willing, this is edifying. First off, giving all praise, all honor, all glories to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and all the teachers out there pushing His word in truth with truth and sincerity, especially now, risk your lives to do so. May you be the elect. Shalom to all the Akim and the Akwath out there listening and learning. You Israelites, so-called Negroes, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians, who are the true children of Israel, as well as you speckled bird, Israelite foreigners, the Israelites that look like, act like, and take on the customs of all these heathen nations. So to you, I say shalom. This lesson is brought to you by the Spirit and the power of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai. Yahweh being the true name of our Father, the God of the Bible, the God of the Israelites, by Hashem meaning in the name, and Yahweh Shai being the only begotten Son of Yahweh, who the world ignorantly calls by the name of JC. Now, I'll just go ahead and put out there periodically. You may hear me cough and, try to clear my throat. Ever since we had that last snow, whatever the hell they put in the damn chemtrails, with that snowfall, had, pretty much had my throat acting up ever since then. So bear with me. All right. So, this lesson, all right, is based off of something I heard on the radio last week. All right. And it was some Eves talking, basically talking about how some Jakes, all right, specifically Jakes, being of the so-called Negro, right, but Jakes in general being the Negroes, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians, the Israelites, right, but we say Jake for short for Jacob, right, but nonetheless, it was these Eves, right, these Jake women, basically talking about, how, the different hues of Israelites, right, being of a darker brown to a lighter brown, either gave you better status or you were less desirable. All right. And, even the use of wearing wigs, all right, to have the so-called Becky hair and things of that nature. All right. To enhance them, I guess you can say. All right. And it just made me think the reason why people are in that type of mind state, all right, the darkers hating on the lighters, or the lighter Jakes hating on the darker Jakes. All right, Esau created that, man. Esau created that during like the Jim Crow era. All right, and over time, it just became to the point where we didn't really embrace ourselves and love each other like we should, but we tended to lean toward our oppressor and wanted to be more like them, look like them, all right, change our hair, change our speech, all right, our neighborhoods, okay, our friends, anything and everything, all right, that we took that was amongst ourselves, and we pretty much disenfranchised it, if you will, to take hold of the way of the heathen, right, and embrace their ways and their way of life, such as, and that's what the Lord told us from the jump. He said, learn not the ways of the heathen, nor choose none of their ways, and we did that, by every stretch of it. All right. So this lesson again is based on what I was hearing. I wish at the time I recorded it, but as I was listening to this radio station, I was already driving and, not really thinking about recording, but I was just listening to what they were saying. And it's like, man, this is so spiritual, because that's exactly where the mind frame of our people still to this day is, that we rather be like the heathen, and instead of being who the Lord told us who we are and who we should be. All right. So this lesson is called Hatred Towards Self, was designed by E of Sau, all right, which is the Edomites, progenitor of the so-called Laban race. All right. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 48. It says, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst, and in nakedness and in want of all things. And he shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. Now, before I go any further, let's get this. This is the Jim Crow laws. This is from Wikipedia.org. I was actually trying to find the Jim Crow in its entirety, but they seem to have taken that off of the internet. And if a brother can find it, or Aquath can find it, and go ahead and post it up under this video, that'd be awesome. Otherwise, it's all good. We understand that these devils, are trying to chop down the tree of hatred that they've produced. All right, but they don't understand that the roots still remain of all the things that they've done. No matter what they try to get rid of on the internet and knock down, get rid of all these statues that they put up of hate. All right, they can't undo what they have done. All right, but nonetheless, this is a Wikipedia of the Jim Crow laws, and it reads: the Jim Crow laws were state and local laws introduced in the southern United States in the late 19th and earliest 20th centuries, right? Basically the 1800s and the 1900s, centuries that enforce racial segregation, right? Separating of so-called blacks and whites, all right? The Jim Crow being a pejorative term for an African American, which we already understand that the Negro is not African, all right, or also known as biblically known as Hamites. We're not the same people. Ham was not the progenitor of the so-called Negro race, right? That was Shem, right? But it says being a pejorative term for an African American. Such laws remain in force until 1965. Formal and informal segregation policies were present in other areas of the United States as well, even as several states outside the South had banned discrimination in public accommodations and voting. Southern laws were enacted by white dominated state legislatures. See, redeemers. Interesting choice of word. To disenfranchise and remove political and economic gains made by African Americans, which we already understand. That's the so-called Negroes, all right, tribe of Judah, all right, during the Reconstruction era. Such continuing racial segregation was also supported by the successful Lily White movement. In practice, Jim Crow laws mandated racial segregation in all public facilities in the states of the former Confederate States of America and in some others beginning in the 1870s. Jim Crow laws were upheld in 1896 in the case of Plessy versus Ferguson, in which the Supreme Court laid out its separate but equal legal doctrine concerning facilities for African Americans. Moreover, public education had essentially been segregated since its establishment in most of the in most of the South after the Civil War in 1861 through 65. Companion laws excluded almost all African Americans from the vote in the South and deprived them of any representative government. All right. Now, I'm going to go in. Who is this Jim Crow? Then, Jim Crow laws were stated in local laws introduced in the southern United States in the late 19th and early 20th centuries that enforced racial segregation. All right. Let's go into what is racial segregation. All right, facilities and services such as housing, healthcare, education, employment, and transportation have been systematically separated in the United States based on racial categorization. All right, segregation was the legally or socially enforced separation of African Americans from whites. All right, as well as separation of other ethnic minorities. All right, that's pretty much the point of what segregation is. Now, this is Jim Crow. Jim Crow persona is a theater character developed by entertainer Thomas D. Rice and popularized through his minstrel shows. The character is stereotypical depiction of African American and of their culture, Rice based the character on a folk trickster named Jim Crow that had long been popular among enslaved black people. Rice also adapted and popularized a traditional slave song called Jump Jim Crow. All right. And then, so you look into Thomas D. Rice, go, lo and behold, an Edomite. All right. He's the one who did this. Thomas Dartmouth Rice. How appropriate, Dartmouth. All right. Because his mouth shooting off shit. All right. Shooting off hatred and spewing madness. All right. Was an American performer and playwright who performed in blackface and used African American vernacular speech, song, and dance to become one of the most popular minstrel entertainers of his time. He is considered the father of American minstrelsy. His act drew on aspects of African American culture and popularized them with a national and later international audience. So I read that to say this, all right? This was how the so-called Negroes, all right, the Hispanics, Native and Seminole Indians become to start hating each other, all right? Because it was like we got mocked and made fun of so much. It's like, I'm tired of being black, so-called. I'm tired of being Hispanic, all right? I want to assimilate. I want to be like them so I can be accepted, okay? And that's where this comes from, all right? Now, so let's get back to this. Deuteronomy 28, Salakia. Deuteronomy 28:48. Again, this is, therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies. Who is our enemies? The so-called Laban people. All right, I gotta be careful with my words because they already gave me a strike for no reason. All right. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahweh shall send against thee in hunger and in thirst and in nakedness and in want of all things. He shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until he have destroyed thee. And that's what happened. Our people got destroyed. All right. We went from knowing that we were Israelites, all right, knowing our culture and embracing our ways to the point where Esau just beat it out of us, man. All right. Everybody's seen the movie Roots. All right. He knew himself as Kunta Kinte, until Esau got tired of him and just started beating the fuck out of Kunta, right? Till he had to embrace his name that was given unto him by his slave master, right, which was Toby. And then, of course, over time, right, and this happened throughout all the history of the Israelites being under the whip and the boot of Esau, right? We lost our heritage, we lost our name, all right, and start having to take on the names that was given unto us, all right, just like our so-called last name. That's not our last name. That's the slave master's name. That's the brand name that was given unto us, all right? Instead of branding us, they just gave us the last name of the slave master. So we don't even know our names, man. We just got the names that was given unto us by our slave masters. And throughout time, our people just took on what they already knew because everything that we ever known was erased. Jeremiah 17:4 says we will be discontinued from our heritage, all right, serving our enemies, all right. So over time, we just started not wanting to be so-called Negroes, Hispanic, Native, and Seminole Indians, all right. We wanted to assimilate. We wanted to be more like them, and then you could see that over time, all right, especially in like the 20s and the 30s, all right. Jake starting to perm their hair, trying to get more of like the wavy look or the straight hair, all right, speaking in proper English, all right, dressing the same way that their slave masters, dressed, instead of fitting that characteristic look of Jim Crow, all right, which was made by that Rice dude, okay. And so that's what happened. You get destroyed and you start taking on their names and their ways, their customs, their gods, okay, because we were destroyed, okay. He kept us away from everything that we've ever known, to the point where it's like, okay, well, all I do know is this. All right. Now, this is Deuteronomy 28:54. It says, so that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother. Again, hating one another. Okay. We transgress Yahweh Shem Yahushai. And he said, if y'all keep messing around, you're going to find out. He said, learn not the ways of the heathen. we did it, didn't listen. We embraced the ways of the heathen, and here we are today. All right, and you can see it to this day. Look at our women, man. Very few of them wear their natural hairstyle, but what do most of them have? A wig, a weave. Does that look anything like our coarse hair? Our tight, kinky curls? Nope. But it does what we call Becky hair, right? The so-called white woman hair, all right? So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil toward his brother and toward the wife of his bosom and toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave. And that I brought that up because during that talk, they was talking about how Jake, all right, is not in the household, all right, and so the child is basically raised by his mother, all right, and then that child grows up to be emotional, all right, because he's raised by his mom instead of the dad being in the house, all right, and they're talking about how because the father was out of the house that they were getting government assistance, all right, and then some Jake got on there and he was like, yeah, basically y'all wouldn't be much unless y'all wouldn't be much if you didn't have that government assistance, and he's absolutely right. A lot of these Eve women today, all right, wouldn't have much if it wasn't for that government assistance. They wouldn't be able to proudly sit there and say, "I don't need no man." They wouldn't be talking about I'm a bad bee and I'm getting this and I'm getting that. All right, whole time y'all getting government assistance. Meantime, Jake, all right, the man is out there doing what he got to do to survive, doing what he got to do to feed his family, all right, because the Jim Crow laws, the separation, okay, and after time, all right, it got to the point where the man was taken out, the Israelite man was taken out of the household, all right, he was taken out of the household, and then Eve just depended on Esau for food and raiment, all right, and shelter, all right, but the only way she was going to be able to get that is by the design that Esau created to keep the Israelite man out of the house, all right, to break up that family bond, okay, because when the man was in the house, hey, there was order established, all right, and there was logic in the home, all right, there was order in general, all right, but once the man got taken out, hey, Eve just started, depending on Esau, and then shit, there you go. She don't need the Israelite man. She got Esau, all right, and then therefore again going to them for the want of all things. All right, still, all right. As for the read, this is Isaiah 1:3, and it says, "The ox knoweth his owner, and the ass his master's crib, but Israel does not know. My people does not consider." Everybody want to be so called black, want to be so called Negro, want to be so called Mexican, La Raza, want to be so called Puerto Rican, and so on and so forth. You want to be all these colonized names other than what the Lord gave you. All right, the Lord called you Judah, tribe of Judah, tribe of Benjamin, tribe of Levi, Naphtali, Manasseh, right? Reuben, Gad, right? All these tribes, man. It's 12 tribes. The 12 children of Jacob later became Israel, right? A person before a place. These are the names that were given unto you. All these other bywords, these other names was given to you by the colonizer. And that's what y'all rather be other than what the Lord called you. All right. And that's why still to this day, our people have a problem being who we supposed to be. They want to embrace these derogatory terms and bywords such as black. Black was always associated with dirty and evil. Okay. Not understanding that these social constructs was created during the Renaissance period. Once upon a time, it wasn't, it had nothing to do with color. It was about what language you speak, what landmass are you from, so we can probably, have some type of conversation, right? Things of that nature. Then it became a color thing once Esau put his hands around the whole situation, right? Separating, such as the Jim Crow laws, right? Now, I put in here, it says the chosen people, right? Because we are the chosen people. We are the Israelites. We are God's people, Okay, Joel 2:27 will tell you that. Uh, Deuteronomy 7 verse 6. Right, Deuteronomy 14:2, Psalm 135:4. Right, we are the chosen people of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. We are the Israelites. We are the people of the Bible. We are above all people upon the face of the earth. But because we were driven to the point of these different captivities, we got put on the bottom. Right, we went from being the head to being the tail. Right, so I put in here, it says the chosen people, but feel inferior to others because as a whole we lack understanding. Right, and that's just the facts. We lack understanding as a whole, and that's why we still to this day embrace the ways of the heathen and those colonized names versus who we are through Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. So this is Hosea 4:6. This is, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. Because I was rejected knowledge, I will also reject thee, that thou shalt be no priest to me. Seeing thou hast forgotten the law of thy power, I will also forget thy children. And when I first read that very last line, I will also forget thy children, that's what made me, put aside all the ways that I was doing before. All right. And now, don't get me wrong, ain't nobody going to change overnight. It takes time. I'm 43 years old now. That's a lot of purging, all right, of the ways of this world to get out of my system. All right. Excuse me. That's a lot of years of learning things around me instead of, what Yahweh Bashim Yahushua has given unto us through the scriptures. All right. But once I read that line, I looked over at my little man and I said, damn, he didn't ask to be here. He gonna be destroyed because I don't want to get right because I'm too lazy to understand what's going on. And that's what made me, through Yahweh Shemiah Shai, that's what made me get on my P's and Q's, if you will, to get on this work, man. All right? Because, again, he didn't ask to be here. He going to be destroyed because I'm being lazy, because I don't want to be prudent. No, that's not, no. All right? If you got time to go bullshit around in the world, hey, you got time to sit there and read the scriptures. You got time to read a page or two or a chapter or two throughout the day. You can't make no excuse. You got time for everything in the world, in the world, but you ain't got time for the Lord. Bullshit. You better make time. All right. The Lord and this work is a priority above all things. Right. Make time for Him. Then you go about your day doing what you got to do. All right. So yeah, that was pretty much the point. All right. That our people are still in this mind state to this day, man. All right. We have Stockholm syndrome. All right. Embracing the ways of the heathen. We want to be just like them instead of being who we're supposed to be. We also have cognitive dissonance. When we tell our people who we are and what we mean to the Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, our people don't want to embrace that because that's not what they're taught all these years. That's not what their grandparents and their parents told them through the churches. All right, that's not what they were taught in school. All right, they know we're African. Why you want to claim Israelite, but you don't want to claim who you truly are? Well, we're not Africans. We're not Hamites. Okay. We are of Shem, all right? We are the Israelites, the people of the Bible. You are the ones that don't want to embrace who you are, and that's why you're going to be destroyed, all right? 2/3 of our people are going to be actually destroyed because they lack knowledge. They don't want to know, and the Lord ultimately made it to where they're not going to know, all right? Because He knows everybody's hearts and minds. He knows them all. He know who was going to hearken, who wasn't. All right. So that's called quality control. All right. So anyway, hey, Lord willing, this was edifying, giving all praise, all honor, all glories to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone and all the teachers out there pushing this word in truth with truth and sincerity, especially now, risk your lives to do so. May you be the elect. We're getting ready to head in some heavy times of Jacob's troubles, man. Y'all better repent. All right. Not just for this lifetime, but your past lives as well. And stay prayed up. Kwam Yasharala. Shalom.